So this will
Good
be
evening.
like a, yeah, good evening. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So, should we start the session?
Yep, yep.
Good evening, students. Thank you for joining us today. Coming Full Circle is an event where our distinguished alumni talk about their journey from IIT Bombay as a student and now back to their alma mater to inspire future generations. Mr. Ashish Chauhan is going to join us today for Coming Full Circle. He is considered as the father of modern financial derivatives in India due to his work at NSE. He is credited for reviving the Bombay Stock Exchange and completing its IPO. Prior to joining BSE, he has been the president and group CIO, head of corporate communications, and CEO of cricket team Mumbai Indians in its formative years. Throughout the years, he has been awarded the Distinguished Alumnus Award by IIT Bombay and IIM Kolkata. He has been awarded Digital Icon of Year by Indian Express Group. He has been ranked among the top CEOs in financial market by Asian Banker and amongst the top 50 CIOs in the world by Information Week US. Pandemic has disrupted our daily activities, and as much as we would have loved to meet and hear your talk in person, we still maintain the essence of IIT Bombay through its students. Sir, how does it feel to be present here today addressing the current students of IIT Bombay?
No, thank you, Tanmay, and thank you, the organizers, for calling me back. I have been to IIT Bombay. I do come to IIT Bombay often because I stay in Mumbai, and so good to be back again. In some ways, the pandemic has changed the life the way we know or the way we knew. Now, I think the future is going to be pretty similar to what we are living. It may ease up a little, but in some ways, we will all be more cautious, more hygiene oriented. In fact, if you, I mean, many of us are not taught history, but or we probably when we were students, younger students, we did not worry about history much. But Europe used to have a huge amount of plagues those days in 12th century onwards to almost 17th, 18th century, and that society became hugely hygiene oriented, and so this is going to be an outcome. And I think India also has to learn. India, in some ways, has come out with flying colors compared to rest of the world in terms of the number of infections per million and number of fatalities per million. But that is not a solace, right? We need to work harder. We need to ensure that we are ready for any eventuality that happens. That reminds me of the situation where post World War II, the World War II actually went on for 4 or 5 years, and the only way it got closed down was because of something called atom bomb. Okay, the Hitler, the Germany moved out or killed many Jews, and some of the Jewish scientists who were supposed to be the best in Europe migrated to US, and they ended up helping US make what we now know as atom bomb. And the first atom bomb was actually blasted over Hiroshima, Nagasaki, two of them. And that basically frightened the Hitler and company. And that basically closed down the the Second World War. But the outcome was that the weapon is so huge that other people, if they get it, that's going to be a problem. So US started working to stop other people from getting that weapon. And similarly, I mean, slowly Russia got it done using their spies. UK, France, and finally China. China was allowed later on because they were part of the UN Security Council. And India took a long time to come into that what I call nuclear fold, atom bomb fold. But effectively, what happened post World War II from 1945 to almost 75 years plus now is that the entire world took the atom bomb, the technology of atom bomb, or the nuclear technology as really, really tough, and it should not go into bad hands or irresponsible hands or the hands which are already weak. And that will happen probably. It may not be, people may not be able to save it, but the CRISPR technology, the change of RNA, DNA that happens, and through which many such sort of disease may come about, there might be a what I call a race going on going forward, and that I think we will have to be very careful about that. There are people, there are countries who are going to attack the rest of the world using this. I mean, you don't have to even fight, and still you bring down everyone. And we will have to also be ready. We may not be the aggressors, but we'll to defend ourselves, to defend our society, to defend our culture. All of us will have to be really on our toes to ensure that any such eventuality happens, we are ready to come out with antidotes, vaccines, and what have you. So be aware that there are many dimensions of this issue which we have not discussed. My son is also in the first year of engineering today. He's studying from home, but in US. And I know how tough it is for many of you who are in the first year. But stay assured that you are pretty much the best in India. When you come to IIT Mumbai or IIT Bombay, you are pretty much the cream de la cream of India. And that's where I think you have to have that comfort that you are being given the best education that is possible in India. But the onus will be also on you to grasp and use it to the extent you can within your surroundings, so that when you come out of the education, you are useful. Because many times we may be scoring great marks, and when we come out, we may not be that successful because we are not trying to implement what we are learning. Ultimately, engineers have to implement what they are learning. And so, for me, it's very important that this is a tough period, not only for you, but only for the mankind, I mean, the entire mankind. And you may continue to think, why me? Why in my first year only I can't be in the hostel for the sort of enjoyment and going away from home? Bad luck. I mean, you have been given a bad hand in the poker game or whatever game that is of life. But don't take that as a hindrance to yourself. Take it as a thing to progress and work on it. Probably the world will continue to remain similar, or might go into different directions depending on how the situation evolves. But India's time has come, and all of you are going to lead India going forward.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening words. Will sure take something from you and implement it. When someone says IIT Bombay, the first thing that comes to our mind is the campus, our friends, and the time we have spent together with them. Would you be willing to share one incident from your college life that you cherish to date?
I think the best part of my life, the four best 4 years of my life, I think, were at IIT Bombay. And in some ways, the toughest 4 years of my life were also at IIT Bombay. Because what happened is I studied in Gujarati medium till class 12. And so we used to call velocity as Veg and acceleration as Praveg, just to give you. So when I came to IIT, I could not understand what professor was trying to convey, or what my other student friends were trying to say, because I did not know English at all, and I couldn't speak in English. So I used to fail in Viva. My next student would be sitting next to me. When the professor is asking questions, he would ask me what is the answer. I will give him in Hindi. He will give it in English, and I will pass and I will fail because I couldn't speak, right? So it was pretty much the toughest part of my life. It used to take me in the first few months 3 hours to read one page. And I had taken Gujarati to English, English to Gujarati dictionary, which will basically be the companion of mine for entire life. But effectively, that is where I come from, and many of my senior senior hostel mates uh, took me under their wings, took me into their wings, and I joined the IIT late because of the riots at Ahmedabad in 1985. Many people think that there were only once riots in Gujarat in 2001. When I grew up, every year we used to have many riots. Okay, so this 2001 was not new. After that, it stopped. But before that, 1985 riots was like very long. So my exams on 12th got over only in September, and so I joined the IIT in September, and literally half the term was over. In those days, IIT was very tough. Two sets of internal exams every Monday and Wednesday or Thursday. We used to have exams pretty much throughout the semester, and then end term, which you guys don't have. And so my seniors took me under their wings in the hostel, and they started teaching me English. They would actually spend more time on me than their own studies, which is what usually happens in IIT. You spend more time on extracurricular than what you were supposed to do. But I was lucky to have such friends, and I'm grateful to them. There are many, many such examples. I mean, because I couldn't speak English, I started sort of getting involved in extracurricular activities, which were in a way not getting me any results, especially in the marks. And so I started organizing, become part of the organizing committee of the Mood Indigo, Sports Fest, Film Fest. In F6, there was a event called Tarang, hostel mess during summer, because I used to do all the summers since I had to drop out some cases, I mean, courses, and also I failed a few. So basically, I was involved in all the extracurricular activities. And at some point in time, any general secretary had to organize anything, they would know that this guy is available, what we used to call Dhandha Not, person who has no work at all. And so I was pretty much the leader of that group. And we were all calling ourselves very proudly Non Academic Student Association, NASA. And those were what I call false pretenses which we were living in. When I look back, probably I think I should have studied more, gone less into the sort of extracurricular. But extracurricular also did help overall in my life. So I wouldn't regret doing that, but I think I should have focused more on education.
Many of the things are relatable to us too, sir. Moving forward into the event, sir, you had worked at Reliance Industries for a decade. You were the president and head CIO during your tenure. After this, you moved to the Bombay Stock Exchange. What was your prime motivation to step into finance?
See, basically, what happened is after IIT and within IIT, I realized that I'm not a great engineer because I was not getting good marks, although the last term was different. And so I gave a CAT exam, and I also gave GATE as a part of the overall scheme of things. And so by luck, I also got great marks in GATE, which either tells me that I had like a fluke, or other engineers were worse than me. Whatever the case, I decided to go to IIM Calcutta. In IIM Calcutta, I learned basically I studied more economics and finance. And so I joined IDBI, Industrial Development Bank of India. Those days, IDBI was pretty much the largest financial institution India had. And I was doing the project finance there of power projects and electronics and all. And then there was a Harshad Mehta scandal in stock markets, and the government decided to set up National Stock Exchange, and they told IDBI to set it up, and the IDBI selected 5 people who were senior to me, who were like the stars of IDBI. I had just gone there one year before. I joined in 91 in IDBI, and this happened in 92. So by 92, and this NSE had to be set up, and one of the stars actually dropped out, saying this stock exchange will not work. It was supposed to be automated and things like that. And so they selected a guy who couldn't say no. That was me. And so out of 5 people team, I was selected as the youngest person, and who was the only engineer in the group out of 5. Others were economists and chartered accountants. And so I had to do everything which my colleagues did not want to do. And I had to also do what my colleagues could not do. So clearly they couldn't do IT. And I was a mechanical engineer with MBA in finance, but I had to do IT. And that taught me a lot. I set up India's first commercial satellite network. We used to send, when I was young, we used to send a lot of satellites up there, but we never used them for commercial purposes. We used to just send Aryabhat and all sorts of INSAT 1, 2, 3, 1, 2A, 2B, 2, 3, all those things, but we never used them. And so I ended up using it first time. I ended up designing it, and I'm telling you, I have not learned telecom or computer science as a student, right? I mean, I did a little bit of programming, but other than that, I didn't do much. I learned everything out of reading books, and fortunately, I was successful in doing that. And I also set up the first screen-based trading for India, and of course, the Nifty index, if you have heard of Nifty index, that I was created by me, and many other things. But derivatives is what I'm more known for, because it became a huge success. It was supposed to be sort of very difficult to do, and I ended up doing that. That's how people know me as the father of derivatives. But after that, I was there in NSE from 93 to 2000. And in 2000, I was trying to go abroad to US because my family was already there, my parents and all, my brother, sister, everyone. And so, and I just got married. So I was trying to go there and there to interview for World Bank. And so I was, when I got a call from Reliance Group saying, if you want to start your own exchange, B2B e-commerce, then we will fund you. And I told them that if I don't get a World Bank job, which I want, then I'll come and meet you. So I didn't get the World Bank job, which I wanted. They gave me something else, which I didn't want. I came back, went to Reliance and joined them as an entrepreneur. They funded my company in e-commerce. This is 2000 when internet was new to India and so on and so forth. But I was slightly ahead of the country, and that's why I failed also. So 2000, I had like, I mean, when I was the vice president in top five of NSE, and then I started on my own. And 2001, I had 100 people. I had great technology, but the B2B commerce market went down. And so Reliance said, we will not fund it anymore. But you are a sort of a very sincere guy, not very smart. But you can work with us in the telecom area. That's how I became part of the telecom group. And then I also was made the CIO, Chief Information Officer of Reliance Group. And later on, I also worked on many areas, including their IPOs for Reliance Petroleum. But people remember me more for the cricket team Mumbai Indian, which I set up in early years. And then parallelly, I had a separate company which my wife owned. My wife is doctor. She doesn't she doesn't do computer science, but my wife owned a large portion of a company which was providing software to stockbrokers. And that company got taken over by BSE in 2009 end. And they put a condition because I was supposed to be very good in IT for stock markets internationally. And I was also the father of derivatives in India. And BSE had missed out on the derivatives bus. So they wanted me to kind of work with them at least for 1 year as a part of the deal. That's how I came to BSE as a deputy CEO. And after 3 years, the CEO resigned, and so I was made the CEO of BSE. But most of the modern financial transaction processing platforms, in a way, I was instrumental in creating them in 94 onwards, 93, 94 onwards. And most of the technology, most of the concepts, most of the regulatory structures, I was pretty much a part of setting that up. And that's how it happened that I wanted to do finance. I liked finance. But what I ended up doing is finance and IT both. And I wanted to run away from IT after NSE became successful. I was told whether you want to run IT for NSE or you want to run the business for NSE. And I said, no, I'll run business because I'm a finance guy. But ultimately, what my IT prowess is what got me the money. My company got sold and we got a lot of money, not huge money, but one where we can retire easily. And so effectively, in some ways, things which I didn't want to do helped me make money. Things which I wanted to do, of course, I ended up doing. And so I've always been on both sides of IT and finance and many other things. But I basically more of a technologist in finance than a guy who sort of is a pure finance guy, right? So that's how I kind of look back at my life.
Yes, sir. So it's truly motivating, and it's great to know about your professional career from you. Uh, Sir, you have brought forward the idea of mutual fund distribution platform BSE Star MF, a web-based transaction processing platform, and it has been one of the most successful in the mutual funds ecosystem. What inspired you to undertake such a huge risk, and what were the challenges that you encountered?
See, in a way, the NSE was the ultimate success I had at early age in life, right? So any success that comes later on, especially in a technological or even transformational sense, does mean kind of pales whether it's being the best CIO, Chief Information Officer in the world for chemical companies, or top 50 CIOs in the world, or best CEO in the financial sector. I mean, for me, still setting up that what I call high tech exchange from scratch, where even US was not doing, Europe was not doing. We were the first to make it run, and it became so successful technologically and also business wise that that thing will continue. But when I joined BSc, already there were many platforms which very nice entrepreneurs kind of had started to distribute mutual funds. But each of them used to basically they became large. The guys who could use technology, they became large, but the smaller guys who couldn't invest money in technology were actually falling behind. And BSc as an exchange is basically kind of it's a an exchange of many people, small and large, all. And so we said we will provide technology to smaller guys, and that's how we created this platform. It was, I mean, in retrospect, it looks huge because it became large. I mean, literally every year now we do 3 lakh crore of rupees, 3 lakh crore of transactions, almost 80, 90 lakhs a month transactions a month, and almost 25,000 or 30,000 crore of fundraising through that from small little people, not large IPO kind of things. And so it became hugely successful because I had seen while setting up the Reliance Infocom, the mobile systems, even while setting up NSE, that the scale up, if you are successful, becomes very, very, very easy, and it can grow up to be unbelievable numbers. And that's what I mean. But it takes a lot of time. You have to also go through a lot of politics. People oppose you. Even the people who are trying to support, people who are trying to help, also oppose you. So those are the things I had to go through my entire team. But the biggest thing about BSE and my entire life is to have frugal innovation. If other people take 100 rupees to do things in IT, I can do it in 1 rupee, right? So literally, I can sustain for longer. I don't have to have revenues for longer. And so the guy who's spending 100, tomorrow he'll spend 1,000. But I will do in 1 rupee much better IT and much better services to the customers. And that's how I mean I have lived my life in what I call very frugal framework, because I come from what I call bottom of the pyramid framework, and that has remained with me. And in some ways, if you spend a lot of money in a project, you may be able to accelerate, but you may also fail spectacularly because the expectations to become successful faster are there, you know. Whereas in my case, what I have seen is that if you have a larger heart, you are able to take blows coming from everywhere and continue like Muhammad Ali in the boxing ring forever. The guy who can take maximum blows stands at the end, right? So that's what life is all about. And mutual fund distribution platform Star MF has proved that BSE today accounts for almost the entire net positive amounts that are coming into the mutual fund industry, and almost 30-40% of all types of transactions into the mutual fund industry. And every month we are adding more and more transactions to ourselves. So that tells you that you need to be really frugal. You need to be really on your toes. Every day you need to change, evolve, take feedback. But you have to be frugal, and you have to be there for long. Not like tomorrow I start my company and after 3 days I'll get $1 billion. Here I get nothing. I get only salary in BSE. I don't even own shares of BSE. But for me, the achievements you do is in some ways not relevant to the money you make. You may make money, you may not make money, but it doesn't matter at all as far as you are doing something useful to the society, right? And that's what is very important for every IITian to understand, that you have that capabilities in you, that you can actually serve the society in some positive way, constructive way. And even if you don't get money, have hope someday you will get. Work for it. Don't get disappointed. And if you get success, you will know how to become successful next time, right? And the literally all my achievements, I didn't get too much money. I mean, my salaries are really good today, but still, most of my family's wealth today came out of that small little company we sold, right? So it's not that my money came out of my achievements, but that's how you have to understand that you may not get money, much money at all, but as far as you enjoy what you are doing something really nice and funky, and for the society, I think you will be more satisfied.
Yes, sir. It's really inspiring, and also it's really exciting to know this side of you and your views. Moving forward, in January 2017, you had successfully completed the IPO of BSE. In 2018, under your leadership, BSE commenced in the gold trade. So, where do you see the trade of gold headed towards? Also, as cryptocurrency has entered the market, what do you think will its impact be on traditional trading, businesses, and the economy as a whole?
See, basically, since gold and crypto both are being seen similarly and being marketed similarly, saying that crypto is especially Bitcoin is some sort of a alternative to gold. Uh, in fact, if you look back, the entire history of science came from where, in search of creating gold. So alchemy, have you heard of word alchemy? Alchemy is basically the magic or something which you do which will create gold, right? And that's how chemistry came from alchemy, right? And the science, in a way, of course, physics and other things, but the alchemy is what was a prime motivation. So from time immemorial, humans have been wanting to create gold, right? Why? Because that is the wealth. Why gold is wealth, you need to understand. Then you will understand how cryptos are not that. Why gold is wealth is because it is inert, right? It doesn't go bad, unlike the iron and other things, right? But it is also malleable and so on and so forth. But biggest thing about gold is you cannot recreate it. You cannot recreate very anything close. Otherwise, it's useless as a metal. It's not that great as a metal, right? But it's not recreatable, and you could carry it faster and so on and so forth, right? So there are basically the Bitcoin has many similarities, but it's easy to create Bitcoin, a copy of a Bitcoin. You can have Bitcoin, Midcoin, Xcoin, Ycoin using the same algorithm. But using the same algorithm, can you create new gold? Try doing that, right? Second thing, which is also interesting, is that if you want to if you want to read up, because now it's a vacation time, you want to read up about the money. What is money, right? If you don't understand what is money, you will, and most people don't, right? Even people who work in finance for life wouldn't understand what is money, and that's why it's easy for people to fool you. But modern money is what is called fiat money. Fiat is not the Premier Padmini money. In India, we have Fiat motors and all, Fiat cars and all. That is not the fiat money. Fiat is basically power of the government. Using power of the government, what you issue as money or currency is the money, right? So what happens is the cryptos and all are basically, in a way, trying to sabotage that money, right? And no government will like it. The modern society, modern nation state like India, it has borders, right? But have you been to borders? No, right? How do you perceive Indian state? How do you perceive India as a country in your day-to-day life? On what basis? From RBI, from SEBI, from police, from army, from navy, from those large buildings, from IIT Bombay, right? Those are all the representations of the governments. And one of the largest representation of the government is the money. When the RBI governor says that मैं धारक को 100 रुपया अदा करने का वचन देता हूं, that is the entire government's power behind that, right? And that government doesn't like anyone else to come and issue new currency where they cannot tax it, they cannot figure out where to monitor the transactions. Why they want to monitor transactions? Because they want to maintain the societal balance. They don't want terrorists to get money. They don't want people to kill each other and take ransom money outside. They also want to tax people so that they can pay for all this, right? And that's where no government is going to like it. Till the time it is small little thing, governments may tolerate, right? When it becomes large, governments will start putting curbs on that. Some of the largest countries, which are supposed to be free market and all, ultimately, if they can't issue their own currency and some other currency comes and takes over, they are nobodies, right? And that's why you have to understand all this, that crypto is not gold, but crypto and gold both uh, are not the money, right? Money is what we as a society say this is money, that's why it is money. And so if you want to read about money, concept of money, read up Niall Ferguson. Just write Niall Ferguson on Google, and you might be able to see his books and writings. And there are many people who have written about money. Some places salt used to be money. Some places tobacco used to be money, right, for some time. But gold continued is because the salt also goes away, right? You eat it up, or it dissolves in water. Tobacco also goes bad at some point in time, but they are useful, right? Gold is not useful, but then it doesn't go away, right? So there are more interesting nuances to what money is. Don't get fooled by such things. That reminds me of another question which I get is how the cryptos are different from stocks, because stocks also get listed and they get traded, and cryptos also get traded. In stocks, what happens is when a company is issuing stock, and you buy those stocks, what is the promise behind that? Is that if when a company makes profit, that company makes profit, you will have the share in that profit in the proportion of the shares you hold, right? But in crypto, there is no such profit promised. In crypto, you have to find the next fool. That is the promise, right? So basically, you have to understand that this is basically a fake god, which is being projected as a god, and still, I mean, world has 8 billion people, out of which many people want to do this for Chinese guys who are corrupt, who are senior. Now, Chinese government doesn't allow them to take their money out. So what they do is they buy crypto in Chinese currency and sell it in Canada. Their children are in Canada or US, take the money in cash, and then buy all the real estate and all. That is happening to just now Hong Kong. The Hong Kong is going through tremendous turmoil. It is not coming in the newspapers or television, but entire island is now being merged into China very quietly. And those guys who are rich, like if you have been, I mean, if you go to Hong Kong, you will realize it's one of the richest cities in the world. And those guys now are trying to take their wealth out using these cryptos. That's why you see 20,000 and 30,000. Actually, many of this is all fake. Uh, it is unbelievably bad technology. But for me, it is useful to some extent in some areas. But overall, you need to worry that technology is not money. It has to become useful. And money is not absolute. It is all of us who say this is money or this is wealth, then it becomes wealth. So effectively, for me, you will have many, many cryptos. I can start literally millions of series of currency. You can create, and everyone, it's like monopoly money. If you have heard monopoly, you have played in childhood, right? And so your monopoly money is different from mine, and all of us think we are richer and billionaires and all, but beyond that, there is nothing, right?
I'm sure this gives a lot of idea to students about the cryptocurrency and also clarifies their doubts. So, over the years, you have held many responsible positions. All the positions require different skills, and yet you have accomplished so much in your tenure. Truly, you are an embodiment of genius's 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. So, in your opinion, what is the role of non STEM skills such as communication, network, management, and consultancy for someone in a STEM field?
So it is important to basically everyone is not the same, right? So you need to understand your strength, your weaknesses, work on your weaknesses. Like my weakness was speaking English. I couldn't speak even in Gujarati on stage, right? I would get down if I was told to speak. And so slowly I developed that. And so where you are weak, I think communication is one of the better skills. I think IITs should impart that. And if IIT doesn't today, then you guys should sort of get together and sort of work with each other uh, to have of course, IIT gives you a lot of opportunities as individuals to work in extracurricular, but even formally in each hostel or in each department in third or fourth year, you guys can literally have a little bit of competition of preparing things, presenting to each other, and communication is clearly one of the better skills. The other skill, which I think is very important, is storytelling. You need to create stories and tell them. coherently to other people, because you can make a presentation which looks good, but if you cannot appeal emotionally to a person in a more coherent way, it doesn't get into the minds easily. So, creating stories, the storytelling is a very important task. Second thing is, I mean, the third thing is debating. That many times, especially IITians, we are so clear in our mind that we think the other guy is a fool, including the another IITian, right? And so we want to fight with that guy rather than sort of defeat in a more polished way, right? And especially people coming from smaller cities and villages and towns, because we were so good in our schools and in our younger days, we did not even bother to argue in a nice way, right? But arguing nicely is pretty much the largest success factor, and ability to give up, saying that okay, you have won, or okay, we agree to disagree, is a very important thing, which I did not understand for very long. If I was correct, I was correct. There was no way the guy could argue, and I would be very diffident about it. Today, when somebody is arguing, you have to listen to them. You have to try to argue with them nicely. But still, I think if I had that caliber or ability to do things nicely in a more easy debate, then probably I would have even achieved more. So, for me, this communication has many facets, but storytelling, debating in a nice way, especially coming for people coming from smaller towns, non-English speaking kind of background. You know only so much to communicate, right? So you tend to be very aggressive, and if you become aggressive, people don't like it, even if you're right. And bogus people with no substance start going above you because they are likable, you are not likable, right? And so sometimes of course it helps, you don't have to be likable always, you are not there to collect votes most of the times, but still if you are likable, it's a good trait to develop. So try doing that, and of course, which question to ask. We in entire life, all of us, especially at IIT, are very smart in answering questions, right? That's why we are in IIT. But we have not been taught which questions to ask. Life, the success will come if you know at any point in time which is the question to ask and which is the question to answer, right? So these are the skills you need to develop. I was never taught this, but looking back in life, I was never ambitious. I was, I mean, when I joined Hostel 6 on September 13, 1985, I had to fill the form, what is your hobby? And I wrote clipping, right? And so I was completely unambitious from childhood, which I'm still, I mean, that's why one of the reasons why I could float uh, despite all sorts of failures is because I didn't want to become anything. But not everyone can have that kind of attitude in life. But if you want to be successful of sort of any type, you need to develop that likability, storytelling, communications, and asking questions, right?
Um, I hope we all will use all these guidelines from you and all these guidelines from you and apply those in our daily life. Uh, every master was once a beginner. You have been regarded as the father of modern financial derivations in India. Sir, would you share your journey in trade marketing with us? Also, what was it like as a beginner to NSE to BSE?
Come again?
Um, sir, would you share your journey in trade marketing with us? Also, what was it like as a beginner to NSE to BSE?
See, in a way, BSc is a slightly different experience vis-a-vis NSC. NSC, where we were starting up new, we are starting from scratch, right? It's easy to create ideas and things when you are new, when you are starting from scratch. It's a clean slate. Uh, but to change an organization which is large, 140-year-old, is difficult. So you require different skills in setting up NSC, making it successful, and sort of you require different skills in managing BSE. When I joined BSE, it was already becoming very small and insignificant. It was supposed to become a museum in few years when I joined. And from there, we had to kind of take it out from real depth into the larger heights. Whereas NSE was nobody had expectations, and so whatever we did was fine. And so those were the larger learnings. But effectively, I think the feedback, uh, getting feedback from entire environment every moment, being alert to that, trying to upgrade yourselves, your activities, is what finally makes any endeavor successful. Very seldom you will make something and it will become successful, and you don't have to change anything for rest of your life. No, it doesn't happen that way. You'll have to continue to evolve. It happened to Mark Zuckerberg. It happened to Larry Page. It happened to Nandan Nilekani, right? Uh, Change is going to be constant, and more you become comfortable with the change, and each situation, uh, when you are small, you will have a different way of dealing with things. When you are slightly larger, you have to deal with things differently. When you are young, you can sort of live with much more smaller amount of money. When you are married and have children, they also have expectations. So all your circumstances also matter. Within your circumstances, how do you sort of evolve yourself, and also your sort of your corporation, your company, your department which you work for, your work is what will make you or break you. And sometimes when luck comes your way, you usually, because we all of us have great understanding of the future, and we are so confident that we want to do only this path in our career. For me, uh, why in some ways I have seen so much color in my life. I have done work in pretty much literally 20, 30 large industries. And some of the most important work in the world and in the country I have done is largely because I did not have any clear path in my mind. Whatever I was told, I was happy. I did not have any clear expectation of money. If you give me so much, only I will work this way or that way. Otherwise, I will not work. I was happy getting very little. I was happy doing any work. If you give me work to bring tea and coffee, which my colleagues did after IIT and IIM, I still brought them tea and coffee, right? And interior decoration of premises and all sorts of things, right? If you give me work to clean a house or a clean a premises, I will do the best. I'll try to employ all sorts of technology in the lowest cost, and that is for me what has allowed me to not say no. I mean, when I was told that I am going to become the CIO of Reliance Infocom, first Mr. Ambani told me that at 2 in the night, saying, "What does a CIO do? Get a job spec." So I went to my desk, figured out job spec, cut paste from the internet, went into next day, went to him, and he said, "Okay, now you are the CIO, clean up the mess." Right? And I could have told him no, that I am a finance guy, I'm an entrepreneur, I don't want to do it. Or situation is very bad, I don't want to do it. I just said, okay, sir, let me try. And that is where, when I was given the cricket team, again, same way. Uh, I mean, it's not that I have not played cricket. I used to play cricket in IIT also. I used to play cricket in Mumbai, many grounds, pretty much every weekend when I was your age. But I was not a great player, right? I mean, I was a lot of enthusiasm, no talent in cricket, right? Uh, and when I was given that, it was a very difficult situation in which the cricket team was handed over to me. But again, I could have said no, that I am your head of IT and I'm head of your corporate communication. Why you are giving me this? But I said, okay, let me try. And so why I'm telling you this, there is no work which is small. Okay, there is no work which is not doable. Just because you are from IIT and you are computer science or mechanical or electrical, that doesn't mean you can't cook food, right? That doesn't mean you can't wash clothes or wash utensils. Everything that comes your way, if you do it well, the chance of your success in life is much higher than if you try to say, no, I have to do this way and anything else. And that arrogance, if you don't have that confidence, overconfidence in your career path, if you don't have, probably you will have a more meaningful life. You will be able to see more colors of life than what you would see if you are very rigid.
It's really enlightening to know how you see the life, and also how you face various problems in how you face various challenges in your life. So, how do you really decide what job you want to take, or what inspires you to take up a job or task and make it a success?
So as I told you, I don't. I mean, I'm not ambitious. I never plan what will happen next day, and so I am very happy and a very blissful person since childhood, like a monk or fakir. I mean, देखा जाएगा, right? And that is what helped me go through IIT, despite very big handicap of not knowing English, and everywhere, right? And so I don't decide or I don't plan much, but I have this great faith after this almost 30 years of working that technology is a great change instrument. It's a great way things will change. In last 30 years, life has changed completely. You will not appreciate because you are too young. But where I come from and where we were growing up, today it has changed completely. And India has changed completely. India's confidence has changed completely. And for me, that is where if you continue to know technology, continue to apply technology in whatever you do, whatever comes your way, I think you will be successful. I don't decide what I will do tomorrow. Of course, I have a job, and so that is. But tomorrow, if I'm told that you are not working here, I will not be unhappy. If they tell me tomorrow do something else, it is fine. And of course, whatever you do, try to be useful to the society, because ultimately, uh, with all your brilliance and all your achievements, the society has been responsible to bring you where you are. Right? Nobody becomes big on their own. They come on every many people's shoulders, right? And so it is a duty of everyone to continue to contribute to the society in whichever way you want. So I do participate in many social activities uh, to ensure that whatever I can contribute to uh, ensuring poor people, people without knowledge, wisdom, they get to see all these things. They get exposed to many things which we are privileged students or privileged people are able to do. Probably some of them will become uh, sort of successful in life, and that those are the things which I worry. But when even I was like 25, 30, 35, I had no ambition of what I need to do or what job I need to do so to make more money. Money came by accident and not by because of my job. But I still enjoy my job every day. I'm still after 30 years of working, probably 14, 15 hours, even on weekends, most days. I'm still as enthusiastic every morning as I was, say, when I started my first job, right? So that's what makes me sort of happy that I don't have expectations from anything.
So, we are delighted to know that. Sir, semester 3 was online for all of us students. Also, this year has been hard on students. Sir, also, like, what message would you like to give to our students for on that?
This life takes sudden changes. This was not expected. Nobody thought 2020 will be like this. But each person has a choice to take it in a positive way or in a negative way, right? Many of you might be cursing yourselves why it is happening to me when I am going to the IID first time or second, in the second year. But take it as an opportunity. Try to make something out of it. Try to learn how to live, how to become useful to your parents. Most of you are at home, and many of you have been what I call pampered children because you were bright and brilliant, and I went to IIT. And so try to be useful, try to be understanding how difficult conditions your parents are going through, and hopefully humanity will go through this crisis successfully. And India is clearly a leader in uh, sort of thought process as well as how to execute, how to come out of this, including vaccines and all. But overall, take it as an opportunity rather than a threat to your life or your career.
Yes, sir. Sir, We thank you for your views. We have also collected some questions from the students by
Mhm.
floating some form. So the first question is, how can a beginner learn stock trading or investing, and what's a good time or age to step into stock market?
See, stock trading is different from investing, right? So, I mean, investment is a long-term thing, and what you invest in, whenever you invest in a company, you invest for basically the profits that may come, and if the profits increase, the price of that share will go up because of the fact that that becomes more valuable, right? Whereas if you trade every moment, every second, every microsecond, then you are basically a trader, and you are not looking at the dividends and profitability. You are looking at only a temporary phenomenon, and both are not bad. But usually the nations are built by the investments, which are long term, not the speculation. It's like you want to run on treadmill, a marathon, you will stay at the same place. Trading is like that. However much you trade, you stay at the same place. But if you start walking even slowly, you will reach somewhere after 10, 30, 10, 15 years, right? And so for me, the investment is like walking, however slowly. And so there is no right age to invest. You can start today if you have your parents have some money. Start learning about investments, and many of us do not have that expertise of finance because each company works differently. Each company's management has to be sort of assessed. There are many ways to assess that, and so there are people who specialize in that. And so, if you want to invest, because that's where you get what I call benefit of other people working for you. That is, when you invest in a company, the management of the company and the workers of the company are working to get you profits, right? And so, if you have that surplus and you want to invest in the company shares, you should do that. And if you don't know too much about it, you can go through other experts like portfolio management schemes of many people who are experts in doing that. There are mutual funds which where you can invest in, and so on and so forth. So I wouldn't advise anyone to take up stock trading ever, unless you want to be really a professional trader. But if you want to do investments, you can do yourself also. You can invest in companies you like, companies of your friends, companies which are near your home, or companies which you know a little bit about. And if you think those companies are going to do well in future compared to what they are doing currently, and that the price of their shares justify that, you can buy and keep them. But if you don't think that you have that kind of skills or understanding, then you can go through other people. You can take advice of other people, pay them professionals who are there who run portfolio management schemes or mutual funds, and that would be equally good.
I hope this clarifies doubts of the students. Moving forward to next question. Being students of IIT Bombay, students know that they will be getting a handsome placement, but if they want to do something else, it's very risky for them because success in that field isn't granted for sure, and that way they might have nothing in their hands at the end. So how to choose between the two?
So this is a very interesting question, because when we were young, none of us actually wanted to become entrepreneurs. We all wanted to become people with jobs. The gold medalist and silver medalist and toppers wanted to go to US and become professors, and bottomers like me wanted to be in India and take up jobs, right? So those were because the entrepreneurship was not so celebrated, and it was not easy to create wealth also, because if you have to make wealth, you have to put in a lot of wealth, which none of us had. Very few people had that kind of money to invest and then come out with larger wealth, and so but slowly the technology changed, and it allowed people without money to also set up businesses and create a lot of wealth. And some of my seniors, like Nandan Nilekani, who is my senior by 11 years, but we saw them, they came from nowhere, they had no money, from middle class families, and they became very rich by sort of a quirk of fate, but also their hard work and strategies and stuff like that. And so, in a way, today's world, you have many role models which we did not have. And you can understand that today's world also allows you, especially people with technology knowledge, to get involved in newer businesses. Put in a little bit of money from other people. You don't have to put your money, your father's money, venture capitalist or angel people's money. Put your brains and hard work, and who knows, you might become a billionaire, right? And of course, other people who are investing in you also might become billionaire. But uh, usually, I mean, it's very rare that you are a Larry Page or Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates who don't complete their education and become um billionaires, or who start from the college dorm and become very successful. Uh, so, idea is to complete your college education if you can. Try doing that. Don't try to be sort of so impatient that no, I need to do the business now. The second part is try to get some experience of how the business world works, because the technology may work, but how to expand it, how to basically save taxes, how to do accounting, how all the ways of the world are, even to create a business, you have to kind of set up a company, how the companies are created, how the licenses are taken for shops and establishment, all sorts of things. So if you have a little bit of experience, it may help you. But if you have some really good stuff coming up in your mind now and you want to start, I think you should not stop also. I'm not trying to promote sort of doing things very delayed, because if you delay, you will have an issue. Like in my own case, at age 30, when I started my own, my father asked me, because he worked in government entire life. He said, "Why do you want to leave government type of job?" Because NSC by that time was a private sector company, not a government company, but it has a mindset of a government. At least it's those days we used to get government type of salary, and national name suggested that it's a government type of company. IDBA was a government company, but not NSC. But my father asked me saying, "Why are you going into private sector? They might throw you out tomorrow." I said, "Sir, basically at age 30, if I don't take a risk, I mean, I have gained so much experience in my life. I know how the stock markets work, how the markets work, how the technology works. Nobody in India knows about it. And if I do it, uh, I'm reasonably sure I'll be successful." And people like Reliance are funding me, and it was not small funding. In 20 years back, 100 crore was a large funding, right? And still, I became a failure, right? So, despite all the right ingredients, I was not successful there. But I also learned, I picked up myself. I had a parallel company going on, which was run by my ex colleagues from NSC, and that worked, and that was also gave me profits. All my salary from Reliance was going into investing into this company and stuff like that. But depending on your situation, you can take risk. But in some ways, even as an employee now, I think because I was an entrepreneur before, it allows me to understand the business better, understand life better. If I was not an entrepreneur, I would have been a bad employee, right? So at this age, I think when I look back, I have not been a very successful entrepreneur, but I'm good employee because I was an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I guess this will help students to know how to take decisions and also how to take calculated risk. Sir, thank you very much for joining us today. Our audience has been thrilled to hear about your experiences during these difficult times. Hearing from you has been very refreshing and motivating. Thank you again.
Thank you, Tanmay. Thank you, guys. Bye.